We counted every coin, I told my little brother, Jordan. You did the math. You've got this. I'm ready, he said, hugging the robot box. Can we just pay? We will, I said. We follow the rules. The manager stood near the counter with his arms crossed. His stare slid over us like a blade. My stomach tightened. I kept my voice even. We're good, I whispered to Jordan. Breathe, he nodded. His two friends squeezed their toys, quiet and stiff. The manager leaned toward the cashier and murmured, Check them? I lifted my chin. Sir, we're paying customers. He stepped closer. Where did you get those items? Aisle 6, I said. Before that, in our hands, I said. From the shelf. Any in your bag? He asked. It's a water bottle and a notebook, I said. That's it? Open it, he said. I opened it. Look, he didn't. Empty your pockets. We're at the register, I said. We're not suspects. Lower your tone, he said. My tone is steady, I said. Your tone says something else. Jordan tugged my sleeve. I brought the jar, he said, small but brave. We saved. Good, I said. Let's show him. The cashier looked at us with worry. I can ring you up, she whispered. Not yet, the manager said, holding out a hand to block her. I need answers. You asked where we got the toys, I said. Aisle 6. You asked what's in my bag. You can see it. You asked our ages. He's 10. I'm old enough to know what this is. What is it? He said. Innocent on the surface. Not concern, I said. Something colder. A man behind us muttered, Just cooperate. I turned to him. With what rule? Name it. He looked at the floor. I'm only saying, I heard you, I said. Peace without fairness is quiet, not peace. The manager pointed at my bag again. Pockets. I placed both hands on the counter. No, he stared like I'd thrown a punch. No, I'm here to buy, I said. You can let us buy, he smiled without warmth. If you had nothing to hide, I have nothing to hide, I said. That's why I'm saying no. Jordan's friend whispered, I don't want trouble. You didn't bring trouble, I said. You brought a ball. The cashier tried again. Sir, please, let me scan. Wait, he said. I felt heat climb my neck. What are you waiting for? Confirmation, he said. From who? He took out his phone and looked at me while he spoke into it. Suspicious group near the front. Possible theft, my heart sank. You called the cops? Policy, he said softly, as if kindness lived inside that word. Policy for who? I asked. Kids with change in a jar? He didn't answer. He watched my face like he wanted fear to confess for me. Jordan, I said. Put the jar on the counter. He set it down with shaking hands. I twisted the lid and started counting bills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jordan counted quarters. 25, 50, 75, $1. The small clink of coins felt like a prayer. The cashier's eyes grew wet. The manager shrugged. If it's legit, the officers will confirm. You could confirm by letting us pay, I said. That's how stores work. A woman behind us stepped forward. I saw them pick those toys off the shelf. They were careful. The manager didn't look at her. Ma'am, please give us space. I kept my hands flat on the counter. Here are my pockets. You can see they're empty without touching. Here's my bag. Here's our money. Or are we not the part you're checking? He flinched at that, then hid it under a thin smile. Don't make this about something it's not. It became that the second you decided who we were, I said. Jordan whispered. Did we do something wrong? You did everything right, I said. That's the problem for him, the automatic door hissed. I heard faint sirens, close enough to taste metal in the air. People turned their heads toward the glass. The fluorescent buzz grew louder, like the lights were nervous too. The cashier tried one more time. Please, she said to him. Let me scan their things. He stared at her hand and then at me. No. Listen, I said, keeping my voice level. You could fix this right now. Say you misread it. Say you're sorry. Let the kids pay. Show them what accountability looks like. Are you giving me a speech? He asked. I'm keeping a record, I said. Of your choices. The man behind us sighed. This is getting out of hand. It got out of hand when he picked up the phone, I said. Everything after is just echo. The manager moved closer, shoulders squared, breath of coffee and mint. You're escalating. I'm naming, I said. I'm naming the way you look at me and see a problem before a person. He blinked. That's your opinion. My memory, I said. My life. Jordan's voice shook. I just wanted the robot. I know, I said. And you will not carry this like it's your fault. The manager's phone buzzed. He nodded at the door. They're almost here. The woman behind us whispered, This is cruelty. He ignored her. He watched me instead, waiting for anger to make me smaller. I reached for the scanner with the robot box, slow and clear. The cashier reached too, as if the beeping could save us. He blocked the scanner with 2 fingers. Wait, he said. Why? I asked. Because I asked, he said. Because you can, I said. That's the real answer. Jordan's friend swallowed hard. Will they touch us? No, I said. They will see us. And we will make them hear us. The manager chuckled. You think words will help? They already told the truth, I said. You just don't like the sound. He tilted his head. What truth is that? That you never saw kids at a counter, I said. You saw a story you wanted and you hit call. He breathed out slowly, almost pleased. We'll see what the report says. I know what it will say, I said. Because you're writing it with your voice right now. The door opened wider, letting in a slice of cold air and a flash of red-blue against the glass. People went quiet. I felt my hands shake. I pressed them flat again. I looked straight at him so he could hear every word without excuse. You called the cops. For this? The red-blue flash washed over the doors and crawled up my arms. My breath felt thin. 2 officers walked in fast. The manager lifted his hand and pointed at us like he'd been waiting his whole life to do it. The taller officer said, Step away from the counter. We're buying toys, I said. We're not a threat. Hands where I can see them, he said. I put my hands on the counter. Here. Empty your pockets, the second officer said. No, I said. The taller one narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? We're paying customers, I said. You can ask the cashier, Jordan whispered. Don't say more. I kept my voice steady. I'll say what keeps us human. The manager folded his arms tighter. They refused a search. The taller officer looked at him. Any camera footage? Working on it, the manager said. They were acting suspicious. I felt heat press on my skin. We stood in line. We counted money. That's all. The second officer moved a few inches closer. What's in the bag? Water bottle, notebook, show me. I lifted the bag and opened it. Look, he glanced, then said, Empty your pockets. I won't do that without cause, I said. Tell me the cause. The taller officer's jaw clenched. Calm down. I am calm, I said. I'm also tired. Of what? He said. Of being treated like a problem before a person, I said. A man behind us murmured, Just cooperate, kid. I turned slightly. With what right? He looked at the floor. I'm not trying to get involved. You already did, I said. A woman stepped up beside him. Officer, I saw these kids at the counter. They picked the toys from the shelf. They waited in line. I can say that on record, the manager snapped. Ma'am, please step back. She stayed. I won't. This is wrong. The cashier's voice shook. I can ring them up. They have the money. The taller officer held up a hand. No one moves. Jordan's fingers dug into my sleeve. Do we go to jail for buying a robot? I swallowed. You didn't do anything wrong. Sir, the second officer said to me, I'm asking one last time. Empty your pockets? And I'm answering one last time, I said. No, the taller officer looked at the manager. You called this in as a possible theft? Yes, the manager said. They wouldn't cooperate. I met the officer's eyes. He called before we even tried to pay. The woman nodded. That's true. I heard him. He said suspicious group while they were standing still. The taller officer turned to the cashier. Did they attempt to leave the store? No, she said. They came right here. They put the toys down. I tried to scan. Did you see them conceal any items? No, she said. Nothing, the manager said. We've had losses. We have to be careful. I felt the old sting rise up. Careful with who? Don't make this about race, he said quickly. It became that when your eyes did the math, I said. You reached your answer before your question. The second officer sighed. We're wasting time. Pockets now. I kept my hands where they were. If you suspect me of a crime, say the crime. Put it on record. Stop talking like a lawyer, he said. I'm talking like someone who deserves respect, I said. That's free. You can give it. The taller officer's radio crackled. For a second, the store fell into a hard, tinny silence. I heard the hum of the lights, the nervous cough of someone in the next aisle, the thin breath of my brother. Jordan whispered, "Please don't let them touch me." "They're not touching you," I said. "We stand together." The woman said to the officers, "You can check my phone." I started recording when he blocked the scanner. The manager flared. "You can't film in here." She didn't flinch. "I just did." The taller officer turned back to me. "Do you have a receipt?" I pointed at the counter. "You won't let us get one," the cashier whispered. "I can print a test receipt." "Don't," the manager snapped. "Why?" I asked. "Proof scares you?" He shifted his weight and forced a calm voice. "Sir, I'm concerned for the safety of this store." From a 10-year-old with a robot. I said, "Lower your tone," the second officer said. "You keep asking for quiet," I said. "But quiet is what got us here." His quiet call, your quiet doubt. That quiet is the loudest thing in this room. The taller officer stepped to the side, scanning the floor, the ceiling, anywhere but my face. His lips pressed thin. I watched something in him struggle. He said to the cashier, "You said you saw no concealment?" She nodded. "None." He looked at the manager. "Policy doesn't replace evidence." The manager's mouth pinched. "So you're not going to do anything?" The second officer grunted. "We're doing something. We're asking questions." "He's refusing." "I'm refusing humiliation," I said. "Not questions." The woman's voice cut the air. "Officer, please." "Let them pay and go." The taller officer rubbed his temple. "Sir, if we allow the purchase, will you leave immediately?" "Yes," I said. "That's the plan we had before all this." The manager barked. "No. If you let them pay, they'll make a scene." I stared at him. "You already made the scene." "We're just stuck in it." Jordan touched the robot box with shaking fingers. "I just want to go home." "I know," I said. "We're almost done." The second officer tried one more time. "Final request, pockets." I looked at him and felt the burn in my chest turn to steel. "Final answer, dignity." He shook his head. "You people make everything difficult." The words hit like a slap. I saw the woman wince. I heard someone gasp. I felt the old ache turn bright and dangerous. I said clear and slow, "What people?" He looked away. "You know what I mean." "I do," I said. "That's why I won't empty anything for you." The taller officer cut in, sharper now. "Enough. Cashier, ring them up." "I'll observe." The manager stepped forward. "You can't." "I can," the taller officer said. "If they attempt to leave without paying, we act. If not, we're done." The cashier's hands shook as she reached for the robot. "Price check. Scan." The beep snapped like a small flag in the wind. "Ball," I said, sliding it forward for Jordan's friend. "Puzzle." "Beep, beep, total," she whispered. I opened the jar and poured the bills and coins into my palm. My hands trembled, but I counted clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Coins clinked like small bells. 25, 50, 75, $1. She printed the receipt. The paper curled out and slid toward me. It almost fell. I caught it by the corner. My fingers shook again. I lifted it high enough for the officers, the manager, and the whole room. "Here's your proof," I said. Or was it never about proof? No one answered. The lights hummed on. The doors breathed. The receipt fluttered in my hand like a white flag that refused to mean surrender. The taller officer nodded once. "You're free to go," the second officer muttered. "Next time, just cooperate." I met his eyes. "Next time, just see me." The manager looked past me as if I were air. "We'll be reviewing the footage." "Do that," I said. "Review yourself, too." Jordan tugged my sleeve. "Can we leave now?" "We're leaving," I said. We picked up the toys. The woman pressed a hand to her heart and whispered, "I'm sorry." I gave a nod I didn't know how to name. As I turned toward the doors, The humiliation still burned, but a seed of something else pushed up through the ash. Not rage, not relief. A different heat. A line inside me that would not bend. The receipt crinkled in my fist like a promise I planned to keep. "It's policy," the manager said, his voice smooth like he was the calm one. "I do this for anyone." "Anyone?" I asked. My throat burned. "Or anyone black?" The taller cop snapped, "Lower your voice!" I looked at him. My voice is steady. His story isn't. The manager gave a small shrug. "You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I said. "You called the police before we even paid." "Don't twist my words," he said. "I don't need to twist them." "They twist themselves," I said. The shorter cop stepped closer. "We don't have time for games. Cooperate." "Games?" I asked. The game started when he decided suspicion looks like my skin. A man behind me muttered, "Just do what they say." I turned my head slightly. "Would you say that if these were your kids standing here?" He didn't answer. A woman's voice cut in. "This is racism." "Call it what it is." The manager pointed at her. "Stay out of this." She didn't flinch. "No, I saw them wait in line." "I saw the money." "You ignored it." The taller cop sighed. "Enough, let's move on." "Move on to what?" I asked. "Another lie?" The manager smiled thin. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "Harder," I said. "You made it impossible the second you decided who we were." Jordan tugged my arm. His voice was small. "Why us?" I swallowed hard. "Because they never see us as kids. Only shadows," his friend whispered. "Did we do something wrong?" I bent closer. "No, wrong is what's happening to us, not what we did." The manager folded his arms. "You're teaching them the wrong lesson." "The wrong lesson?" I said. "The wrong lesson is telling them silence will save them," the shorter cop growled. "Enough speeches." "Enough pretending," I said. "You want quiet so you don't have to hear the truth." A red light blinked in my vision. A woman in the crowd held up her phone, recording. Her voice carried steady. "If the world won't believe their words, maybe it will believe mine." The manager stiffened. "You can't film—" "I already did," she said. My chest shook, but I made my voice clear. "If the world won't believe me, maybe it will believe the recording." The crowd went still. Even the hum of the lights felt louder. The manager's face twitched, caught between anger and fear. "This is being blown out of proportion." I looked him in the eye. "No, this is the proportion. You just never wanted it measured." Silence spread. It wasn't peace. It was the weight of truth finally landing, heavy enough to choke the excuses from his throat. The morning glow from my phone wasn't light. It was fire. Notifications stacked, voices spilling out of a screen I couldn't silence. "Look at this," Jordan said, scrolling fast. His voice cracked. "They're calling us liars." I rubbed my eyes. "Don't read them out loud. They're saying you staged it, that you yelled first, that we wanted attention." His lips trembled. "Why would they say that?" "Because it's easier to blame us than face the truth," I said. "Don't let them plant their lies in you." "But some say you're brave," he whispered, almost unsure. "They said you stood tall," I exhaled. "Brave is what they call you when you survive what they'd never lived through." He looked down. "I don't feel brave. I feel scared." "So do I said. "But scared doesn't mean weak. It means we know the risk." My mother set a plate down, her hands firm. "You're not going back there." "Mom." "No," she said. "This ends before it takes more from us." "It doesn't end because we stop showing up," I said. "It ends when they learn silence won't protect them." Her eyes filled. "I don't want silence. I want you safe." I pressed my palms into the table. "If we stop, they win," Jordan whispered. "I just want it all gone." "Me too," I said, softer now. "But wanting doesn't erase what happened." The kitchen stayed heavy with words none of us wanted to carry. I tucked my phone into my pocket even though it still buzzed. At school, whispers weren't whispers, they were knives. "That's the kid from the video. He's trouble. I heard he almost hit a cop." Each word cut. Sharper because they weren't shouted. They were slipped into the air, coated with disbelief. In the hallway, a teacher pulled me aside. His tie hung loose, his voice almost gentle. Did you maybe instigate? Escalate? My fists tightened. Instigate what? Buying toys? I'm just asking if your tone— My tone? I interrupted. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. You think respect was ever given to me freely? I've had to carve it from silence. He shifted, uneasy. I didn't mean— I know exactly what you meant, I said. My voice didn't rise, but it carried. You meant peace is easier when I swallow injustice. He fell quiet. His silence was louder than his question. Walking back to class, I felt the weight pressing harder. This wasn't just my fight. Every cruel word online, every whisper at school, every doubt in a teacher's mouth. It was all proof. Racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sighs. Sometimes it questions. Sometimes it hides behind policy or tone. But it was everywhere, and if it was everywhere, then I couldn't run from it. I had to face it, even when my hands shook and my chest burned. Even when the silence around me pretended not to choose a side. The courtroom smelled like dust and paper. But it was his smirk that made my stomach twist. His lawyer stood first. Your Honor, my client's reputation has been ruined. He was painted as a racist online, his store boycotted. All because of one video and this young man's words. My lawyer touched my arm. Wait! I clenched my fists under the table. The lawyer paced. This was defamation. He was simply following policy. I rose slowly. My knees shook, but my voice cut through. He called the police on children buying toys. The judge raised a hand. Remain respectful, I nodded. Respect is what I'm asking for. The lawyer scoffed. See, emotional, unstable. Emotional? I asked. I was calm while officers told me to empty my pockets. I was calm while my little brother shook beside me. If calm looks like this, imagine if I had broken. The judge leaned forward. Keep your answers brief. Brief? I said. Fine. He pointed at us before we paid. He called us suspicious. He invited cops to treat us like criminals. The manager cleared his throat. I was protecting the store. From children? I shot back. Gasps rippled through the gallery. The judge banged the gavel. Order, my lawyer whispered. Stay steady. Don't lose ground, the manager's lawyer pressed. Loss prevention is not racism. My client had every right. Every right to what? I cut in. To assume guilt before proof? To turn coins and bills into threats? Objection. The lawyer barked. Sustained, the judge said. Answer questions only, the lawyer smiled. Mr. Johnson, did you ever say they stole anything? The manager shook his head. No, you implied it, I said. Silence, the judge warned. The lawyer pressed again. You only followed policy, yes? Yes, the manager said quickly. I leaned forward. Policy doesn't dial 911 before a purchase. People do, the gallery murmured again. The lawyer snapped. You're painting him as malicious. He painted himself, I said. With every word, every choice, every look that said we weren't kids with toys, but suspects in waiting. The manager's lips trembled. You don't understand the pressure. We've had losses. Losses? I asked. Show me one report of white children stopped at your register. Show me one. He froze. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. The lawyer stammered. That's irrelevant. It's the only thing relevant, I said. Because what happened wasn't about toys. It was about what he saw when he looked at us, and what he refused to see. The judge tapped the gavel, but his eyes didn't leave me. The gallery leaned in. Even the air felt like it was listening. By the time I sat down, I wasn't sure if I had won anything. But I knew this. The silence in that room wasn't respectful for him. It was the sound of his excuses collapsing under their own weight. The courthouse steps shook with chants. Justice now! Justice now! Signs waved above the crowd like waves of heat. Reporters pressed closer, microphones pushing toward my face. A woman shouted over the noise, Do you regret your words? I met her eyes. I regret silence, not truth. Another voice cut in. Some say you're stirring division. Division was here long before me, I said. I only refused to pretend it wasn't. Clicking cameras swallowed my next breath. One reporter pushed closer. Are you proud of what's happened? Proud that a man lost his job? I tightened my jaw. Pride doesn't live in my chest, but dignity does, and no one should lose theirs to protect someone else's comfort. The chants grew louder. Protesters lifted their fists. Stand tall! Stand tall! I felt the weight of strangers' voices circling me. I wasn't alone. That night, at the kitchen table, my mother's voice cracked. You're making enemies, son. I've always had enemies, I said. Now they show their faces. Her hands trembled as she gripped her mug. Enemies destroy families. They already tried, I said quietly. Calling cops on children isn't just against me. It's against us all. Jordan leaned against me, his voice small. I'm scared for you, I held his hand. Fear means we're alive, but silence means we're invisible. His eyes glistened. What if they come after you? Then they'll find me standing, I said, not kneeling. Through the window, I could still hear faint chants echoing across the night. Their rhythm was steady, like a heartbeat not my own, and for the first time I felt their voices wrap around me like armor. The courtroom lights buzzed above me. My palms sweated against the table, but my voice stayed sharp in my chest. My lawyer stood and faced the manager. Sir, one question. Did you ever call police on white children buying toys in your store? The room froze. The manager blinked. His lips moved without sound. Answer, my lawyer pressed. He swallowed. I don't recall. The gallery erupted. Voices swelled like a wave crashing. The judge banged the gavel. Order! Order in the court! I leaned forward, my hands gripping the table. My voice cut the air. Say it. The manager's eyes darted from me to the judge, then to the crowd. His shoulders slumped. No! The silence that followed pressed harder than any shout. My breath caught in my throat. The judge's gavel slammed again. Quiet! The manager shifted, voice trembling. I was under pressure, losses, stress, policy confusion. I thought, you thought wrong, I said. And you thought it because of us. His lawyer jumped in. Objection! He's testifying out of turn. Overruled, the judge said, his voice heavy. The manager tried to gather himself. I didn't mean, it wasn't about race. I shook my head. Then why couldn't you answer until now? Why did your voice break? He looked down, hands gripping the stand so tight his knuckles whitened. You never saw us as human, I whispered. Not yelling, just letting it bleed into the quiet. His eyes flicked up, then lowered again. The gallery shifted uneasily. No cheers, no clapping. Just silence, thick and undeniable. I could feel it, the power leaving his body, the mask falling. His collapse wasn't chains or handcuffs. It was the truth crushing him, words he could never take back. For the first time, I didn't feel small in that room. He did. The podium felt taller than me, the microphone colder than the air. My palms sweated against the wood, but when I looked down, I saw Jordan in the front row. His small hands clenched the edge of his seat like the whole world was holding him there. That was enough to keep me standing. I leaned close to the mic, my voice barely a whisper. We went to buy toys. That's all? The room gasped. Some leaned forward. Others froze. I swallowed. We brought money. We brought excitement. We brought the innocence of children who only wanted to play. And what met us? Doubt, suspicion, a call to the police before a word was spoken. Murmurs rose. I felt them crawl up my skin. They asked us to empty our pockets, I continued. Not because we ran. Not because we hid, but because we existed. And our existence was enough to look like crime. A man in the crowd shouted, That's not right! No, it's not, I said, my voice steadier now. But it happened. And it happens every day to people who look like me, to children who look like my brother. Children who must defend their innocence before they can enjoy it. The hall shifted. Silence filled the corners. I gripped the podium tighter. Do you know what silence does? It buries truth. It makes lies sound louder. It teaches children that safety means shrinking, that respect means swallowing their pain. Silence is not peace. Silence is surrender, someone whispered from the back. Preach! I exhaled. I was told to lower my voice, to stay calm, to cooperate. But every time we lower ourselves to comfort the ones who doubt us, we carve away pieces of who we are. Justice doesn't come from silence. Justice comes from words. Words even when our voices shake. Words even when our hearts race. Words even when we know some people will hate us for speaking. Applause broke out. I held up my hand. Don't clap for me. Listen to me, because this isn't about me. This is about children who stood in line with toys and ended up standing trial at a register. This is about a boy with a jar of coins who learned what racism feels like before he learned how to spell it. I saw Jordan's eyes glisten. This fight doesn't end in a courtroom. It doesn't end in headlines. It ends when you decide to see us as human, not threats. It ends when no manager thinks policy means fear. It ends when no child ever has to whisper, "Why us?" The hall rose in applause this time, louder, longer. But I didn't look at them. My eyes found only one face, Jordan's. When the crowd finally quieted, he leaned forward, tears streaking his cheeks. His voice was soft, but I heard it like a bell. "You made them hear us." I closed my eyes for a moment. For the first time, I believed him. The store's glass doors glowed faintly as I walked past. The lights inside flickered like weak candles. For the first time, the building looked small, smaller than the weight it once carried on my chest. Jordan walked beside me, kicking at a stone on the sidewalk. His voice was quiet. "Would you ever go back?" I stopped. My eyes lingered on the shelves through the window, shadows of toys stacked neatly. "Not for toys," I said. "For truth, maybe," he tilted his head. "What do you mean?" "I mean, the place isn't what matters. It's what happened inside. I wouldn't step in for something plastic and boxed. But if I had to remind them of what they did, I'd walk back without fear." Jordan stayed silent for a moment, then chuckled softly. "You sound like Dad would've." The words pierced me. My throat tightened. "Do I?" "Yeah," he said, like when he told me not to hide my voice in class. Even when kids laughed. Tears stung my eyes, but I smiled through them. "He always said silence isn't strength. It's chains." Jordan looked up at me. "And you broke them." I breathed slowly. "Not all of them. Racism doesn't vanish because of one voice, one video, one trial. But my silence is gone. That's something." He kicked the stone again. "I was scared that night." "So was I admitted. "But fear doesn't make us weak. Fear means we're alive. And we spoke anyway." He nodded. "It feels different now. Like people actually heard us." "They did," I said. "And they can't unhear it." "Not anymore." We stood there facing the store. No shouting, no sirens, no courtroom echoing in my ears. Just the soft hum of the street and the quiet between us. Jordan's laughter broke the silence, light and easy. "You really do sound like Dad." I wiped my face with the back of my hand, still smiling. "Then maybe I'm finally growing into him." We turned away from the glass doors, walking into the night. I carried no roar, no fire, only a quiet strength. Words that stayed even after the noise faded.